Hello and welcome back to the Second and Two podcast. I'm your host, TB. I've got my co-host, producer extraordinaire, hat connoisseur, friend of all friends, Jodye. What up, Joe?
What's good, bro? You know I had to put on that new hat, fresh out
See it.
the gate. Had to do it one time. But I think it's been a minute, like last two, I haven't worn a hat, so I had to put one on real quick.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's true. The hat connoisseur has been wearing hats. Had to wear
Yeah.
one today.
Had to throw them off, make them switch up the lingo.
Well, I guess we'll have to start by saying Merry Christmas to everybody. Day after Christmas here.
Facts. Happy
And
New Year,
a
because that'll probably
Happy
be
New Year.
that'll probably be after. We'll probably record after that. So
Yeah.
be the
So
first to tell
so
you
Merry
that one.
Christmas. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We are coming to you Friday night, the day after Christmas. And we're going to talk, obviously, some big time NFL matchups here. First thing we want to look at is basically just where we stand, right? So our current standings, we'll start in the NFC, where all spots but one have been clinched. We know all the wild cards. We know the division winners for the most part. We're really, it's just about, we know 6 of the 7 teams who will be in the dance, I should say. Right now, the Seahawks at 12-3 are in first place in both the NFC West and the NFC as a whole. The Bears, sitting at 11-4, are in second, and they're in first in the NFC North. They pretty much have the NFC North wrapped up. And not pretty much. I believe they do have. They don't quite. They just have to win this week, and they have they'll wrap up an NFC North championship. Or if the Packers lose this week, either way, if either
Makes
one of
sense.
those two things happens, the Bears are NFC North champs. The 3-seeded Eagles at 10-5, they have the NFC East locked up. They're pretty much locked into the 3 seed. Some weird stuff would have to happen for them to move up or down. They're pretty much going to be the 3 seed, it looks like.
They had to win out and let a bunch of people lose.
Yes, or if they lost out and Carolina won out, I think Carolina might be able to jump them for the 3 seed. What, depending on again whether that matters or not. The 4 seed will be won by the NFC South, and that will be either Carolina or Tampa. Carolina currently sitting at 8-7, Tampa sitting at 7-8. That's the one spot up for grabs. And then right now, as things stand, the 3 wild cards, the Niners are in 5th at 11-4, the Rams are in 6th at 11-4, and the Packers are in 7th at 9-5-1. So right now, as things stand, you kind of feel like, okay, that 1 seed could go to one of 4 teams. Any of the 3 NFC West teams or the Bears. One of those, one of those 4 will have the 1 seed. Another one of those 4 probably has the 2 seed. Philly's in the 3 seed. NFC South winner in the 4 seed. You figure the 2 NFC West teams, the other 2 that don't win the division are 5-6 in some order, and then the Packers will be 7. You pretty much know that those are your 7 playoff teams and kind of where the teams stand. The Packers and Philly and the NFC South winner are kind of pretty much locked into 3, 4, and 7. And so that's where things stand as we go into this week in the NFC. In the AFC, you have the Broncos as the 1 seed. They're now 13-3. They won on Christmas night. They have 1 game remaining. If they win that game, they are the 1 seed in the AFC and lock up a bye. You have the Patriots sitting in second. They're 12-3, 2 games left. If they win out, have the Broncos lose that last game against the Chargers, then the Patriots could get the 1 seed.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's also a scenario in which, in that scenario, the Patriots also need the Jags to lose one, because if the Jags also win out and the Broncos drop a game, the Jags, if they end up in a tie with the Broncos, they have that head-to-head victory.
Dang, that's crazy.
The Patriots and Jags haven't played, so the Jaguars could end up at the 1 seed. They're currently the 3 seed, sitting at 11-4. The 4 seed is going to be either Pittsburgh or Baltimore. Right now, all Pittsburgh has to do is win this week at Cleveland, and they are the 1 seed. Or if Baltimore loses at Green Bay, then they again would be the 1 or the 4 seed. They would win that division. Yep. So The Steelers just need to win one more game or have the Ravens lose one, and they win that division.
Hey, shout out to Tomlin doing it again. The first off,
22 years in a row, man.
Crazy,
unbelievable. I think was it 22 years for the Steelers as a franchise, 20 years for Tomlin, something like that. But yeah, it's unbelievable streak. The Chargers are currently the 5 seed at 11-4. They could still win the division. Sneaky thing here. If the Chargers win out, they actually would win that division because they would have the tiebreaker. They would be 13-4. The Broncos would also be 13-4. They would have the tiebreaker in the division
also
with the Broncos. I'm not. I don't. There's a lot of scenarios. I think there's still a scenario that exists where the Chargers could also end up as the 1 seed, but they couldn't end up tied with the Jags because the Jags have a head-to-head win with them. I don't know who wins a tiebreaker between them and the Patriots because I don't believe they played this year. So
they'd probably both
that
have
would be an interesting,
which would make that scenario more wonky.
Now the Chargers do have a very tough schedule with the Texans and Broncos remaining. So,
yeah.
6th seed, you got the Bills at 11-4. And then 7 seed right now is the Texans at 10-5. They just have to win and they clinch. If they were to lose out and the Colts were to win out, then there is a scenario where if they both end up at 10-7 and some other results happen, the Colts could get the tiebreaker there.
Crazy.
But that it would be you'd be asking for a lot.
Could he do
it? Probably not. But so we pretty much know at this point, it's pretty close to knowing who the 14 playoff teams are. I think the one last legitimate question is Bucs or Panthers in the NFC South. I know technically the Colts and the Ravens are alive in the AFC. Truthfully, don't think either one of those. Their odds are very low. So looking like we kind of know who the 7 AFC playoff teams are. Even though there's technically 2 playoff spots available there. I think those last 2 spots go to the Steelers and the Texans. And then in the NFC, again, Panthers or Bucs. Take your choice, right? Take your pick. Right. Okay, so we want to kind of go down the list here, and let's predict where we think these teams will finish with 2 weeks to go, how each team will perform. So we're going to start on the NFC side, Jody. All right. Sure. We're going to start with the Seahawks. The Seahawks at the 1 seed, currently 12-3, 2 games to go. Their next 2 games, they have to go to Carolina and to the 49ers. They need to win both those games to keep control of the division and the 1 seed. Jody, do you have them winning both those games and finishing as the 1 seed in the NFC?
Sadly, yes, I do.
Ooh. Huge believer in Seattle. So you think they're going 14-3? They're going to be the NFC's 1 seed. NFC runs through Seattle.
We'll see it again. Sam Darnold.
And then you said, and they're going to lose in the divisional round. You're saying, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
When they get that first game, donezo.
Wow. Okay.
Sam Darnold's going to look like prime Kirk Cousins. Or not prime time Kirk Cousins. Take a L.
Wow.
Everyone's like, wow, 2 years in a row, my man's got 32 wins or whatever the number is, and he can't do it in the playoffs.
Wow. Okay. Jody, not a believer in Darnold. He didn't beat the primetime allegations yet, even though with the crazy comeback.
You don't gotta know.
Okay. I have the Seahawks actually losing in Carolina this weekend, and then coming back and rebounding and actually winning at San Francisco. I think a lot of people probably see it differently, right? Seeing them, if they're going to win one, lose one, winning at Carolina, but then losing at San Francisco. I think that's actually, I think they actually lose in Carolina. For a number of reasons. Carolina's run game can take teams out of games, and we saw the Rams were able to run the ball against Seattle. So I think Carolina will be able to do something similar. Carolina beat the Rams at home. They just pulled off that win against the Bucs at home. We saw them beat Green Bay earlier in the season. Carolina's a good football team. I think we're at the point where we have to acknowledge that that's a good football team, especially at home. The home crowd has been fueling them lately, and they just seem to make plays. Dave Canales is doing some good stuff with Bryce Young. I think the Panthers get it done at home. They know, they can win that game. And if Tampa loses,
the division.
if they win the game and Tampa loses, they lock up the division this week. They don't even have to worry about going to Tampa the next week. If they can find a way to win, if they can find a way to win and have Tampa lose to Miami. Now, a lot, that'd be asking for a lot, right? The more likely scenario is probably that both of those teams, at least in my mind, that they both win. Most likely scenario in a lot of people's minds, probably that, Tampa wins and Carolina loses. And they both end up 8-8 playing for the division in Tampa in Week 18. But I think Carolina wins this game. I think Tampa also wins their game, and they end up playing for the division in Week 18 in Tampa. I've got the Panthers here winning that game, and then I've got Seattle winning in Week 18 at the 49ers. So in my scenario, for you, they finished as the 1 seed at 14-3. Yep. In my scenario, I have them finishing 13-4 and actually falling to the 5 seed. All right. Let's go to the 2 seed in the NFC. You have the Bears. Right now, it's the Bears, right?
Yeah.
That's who it is right now. So the Bears, they have a road game at the Niners and then a home game versus the Lions. How do you see them finishing out right now? They're 11-4. Where do you have them finishing out at, Jody?
I got them 13-4 as well.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you've got them winning out.
Yep.
You've got them winning out.
Upset alert versus the Niners, and then they go over and take care of business in the division with the sad Lions team.
Okay. So he's got them winning out and ending up 13-4 as the 2 seed.
Yes, sir.
I also have them winning out. I think they're kind of a team of destiny this year. They've just found ways to win games. Ben Johnson's doing a heck of a job. I have them winning out, and because of the misfortune of Seattle, I actually have the Bears as the 1 seed in the NFC. The NFC runs through Soldier Field. Now, like you, and what your prediction was Seattle, I also think they get the 1 seed but lose in the divisional round. And I think that's kind of the team that they have, that they're a team that has way overachieved based on finding these ways to win in the last 2 minutes of games and pulling some of these games that they have no business pulling, truthfully. Green Bay last week especially, and finding ways to win. They're kind of a team of destiny and all of that. But I think the turnovers and the youth and a little bit of it's the first year of this group catches up with them in the playoffs. But I have them getting the NFC 1 seed and winning out here, becoming a 13-4. I think Ben Johnson will tear up that 49ers defense, truthfully. I know they've done a good job kind of holding it together. I give Robert Saleh a ton of credit. He's holding that thing together with glue right now and paper mache. But I think Ben Johnson's good enough. They're gonna scheme him up and they're gonna tear him up a little bit. And I think Chicago's defense is good enough they can hold the Niners down. And so I do think Chicago wins on the road, and the Lions have kind of checked it in at this point. So I think they get the Lions as well in that last week of the season, and they end up 13-4 and end up as the 1 seed. Okay. NFC 3 seed, Philly, right now 10-5. They are going to the Bills this week, and then they finish with a home date against the Commanders. Jody, how do you have them finishing?
I got them at 11-6, splitting in the last 2 games, losing to the Bills, and then taking that dub versus the Commanders, who've also been pretty sad all year. They're on their 3rd quarterback, sadly. Just nothing but injuries over there, so I got them locking in the 3 seed as well.
I'm with you. I see it exactly the same. I think they lose a heartbreaker in Buffalo. The Bills just truly need it more because they're trying to stay alive to win their division, and Philly doesn't necessarily need it. I think Philly will have the luxury of just wanting to rest whatever guys they need to rest in Week 18, knowing they're pretty much locked into the 3 seed. With that being said, the Commanders are so bad, I think they still beat them, even with resting some guys. They end up 11-6. They end up as the 3 seed in the NFC, as the NFC East champion, the only NFC East team in the playoffs this year. All right, the 4 seed right now is the Carolina Panthers. Jody, how do you have the Panthers finishing? We've talked about them quite a bit. already a little bit with that home date versus the Seahawks, and then they go to the Bucks to finish the season.
Yes, sir. So I got them at 9-8, splitting these two games. They lose to the Seattle, as we talked about, with them being the 1 seed, and then going to Tampa Bay, taking care of business out there, and they end up in the 4th spot for me.
I have them in the 4th spot, finishing there as well, but I have them winning both those games at 10-7. Now, the nightmare scenario, if you're a Panthers fan, is you win this week against Seattle, and you're sitting there going, man, we've got home wins against the Rams.
That would be a sad, sad time.
The Seahawks and the Buccaneers. We went on the road and beat the Packers. You know, those are teams in the NFC that are all playoff teams. And then suddenly Tampa also beats Miami, and you got to go to Tampa, and you lose that game at Tampa. Tampa now leapfrogs you and wins the division. And you would be sitting at home the first week, wild card weekend, with wins against 4 playoff teams in the NFC: the Rams, the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Bucks, the team who actually won your division at that point. So if you're a Panthers fan, you know, this game doesn't matter as much against Seattle, right? It's the game in Tampa. Now, again, you can make the game in Tampa not mean anything. This is why it does matter, because you can make it not mean anything if you can win and hope for the Dolphins to figure something out and beat Tampa. Tampa is spiraling right now, so it's always possible. And then you could just make that Week 18 game mean nothing. Sunday Night Football does not want that, because that might end up being the only just like play and you're in game, and that probably is the Sunday Night Football game.
Yeah.
As long as Tampa beats Miami this week, that's your Sunday Night Football game for Week 18. It's just winner take all of the division. Winner's the 4 seed in the NFC, and you know, is hosting that first round playoff game against the 5 seed. So I am split on. I almost picked the doomsday scenario for Carolina to beat Seattle and lose to Tampa in Tampa that last week of the season. But ultimately, I just said, you know what? That the Tampa team that we saw early in the year that was like 5-1, we just haven't seen them. They're beat up. I mean, they're getting healthier. Like, they got a bunch of receivers back and stuff like that. But the culture, it just seems like they're going for a crash.
Man, when he started,
they're just
winning the whole different team those last couple weeks.
I mean, I don't know that I would say it was when he started. I think that was a reaction to the team that they've become at this point and his frustration. But it does feel like we might be going towards a Todd Bowles is, you know, the Panthers, the Bucks missed the playoffs and Todd Bowles is fired. The Bucks have been a staple in the NFC playoffs. So, you know, I would be surprised if you know, if they were to miss it, but at the same time, if they do, then it's not a shock if they fire Todd Bowles at that point. So I've got the Panthers obviously winning out and getting to 10-7 here, finishing as that 4 seed. Okay, the current five seed, the San Francisco 49ers. They are 11-4, control their destiny. 2 very tough games. They're both at home, but they've got the Bears and the Seahawks. How do you see them finishing, Jody?
I got them, I believe in the scenario I have is where they lose out, right? They're currently, where's the number? 11-4. Yeah, I got them at 11-6. Lose both games. They end up as my 7th seed.
I also have them losing both games. They but I have them sticking at my 6th seed. Even though they lose both games, they only drop 1 spot in this scenario with those 2 losses, but they end up with a tough date in Philly as a result.
Yeah. Mine, they go to Chicago. So they get a rematch of this week's game.
That would be interesting to see 2 teams play in a playoff game where they just met a week or 2 weeks before. It's pretty rare we've seen that.
Too.
Yeah. Okay. The 6th seed currently is the Rams. They are 11-4 as well. How do you have them finishing?
I got them winning out, going 13-4. They end up as my 5 seed.
They have at the Falcons and versus the Cardinals. I'm in agreement with you. They should win both those games. I imagine they will. I have them winning both those games, ending up as the NFC 2 seed because of what happens with the Bears and the Seahawks and the 49ers. And the way that all shakes out,
they all shoot each other.
Yeah, and so they end up as the 2 seed. Okay, last one, the Packers. The 7 seed currently at 9-5-1. They have the Ravens at home, and they go to the Vikings. How do you see that one?
Yeah, I got them winning out. Ravens haven't been what we've all expected them to be. Lamar's like hurt, and culture seems off over there right now. All weird stuff. They didn't want to play Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter last week or whenever that was. So I got them beating them. And then they go to Minnesota and close out there versus probably Brosmer at this point. No JJ. I don't know what happened to him, but
his hand. Good. Yeah. I've got the Packers going 10-6-1, losing to the Ravens this week, winning at the Vikings. The Packers don't need the game, either one of the games. They're locked in the playoffs now. They're starting Malik Willis this week. Jordan Love's going to stay in concussion protocol. The Ravens absolutely need it to have any chance, right? The Ravens got to win and then watch the Steelers on Sunday and hope they lose to have a chance to have like a winner take all in that division in week 18. So the Ravens really need a win to keep themselves alive. I think they'll go, all out, kitchen sink, got to do it. So I think they'll get the Packers who again don't need the game. They're basically locked in. And then I think the Packers will win at Minnesota in that last week of the season, finishing 10-6-1. Though I could see them losing that one as well because, again, they won't need it. But if you're Minnesota, you don't necessarily want to win that game either because you're looking at draft position. And if they're starting Brosmer, who knows? So we'll see. But I've got them finishing 10-6-1. So if things ended to the way that I see it, it would be Bears, Rams, Eagles, Panthers, Seahawks, 49ers, Packers. You'd have the Rams hosting the Packers in LA, the Eagles hosting the 49ers in Philly, and the Panthers hosting the Seahawks in Carolina for a rematch there, with the Bears awaiting whoever wants to come meet them at Soldier Field in round 2. Jody, if it goes your way, how does it go?
I got Seattle on a bye. We got the Bears versus the Niners, 2 and 7 seeds. 3 and 6, I got the Eagles hosting Green Bay, and then 4 and 5, I got Carolina hosting the Rams.
That'd be those all would be like rematches. I mean, obviously, Philly, Green Bay played at that venue in the playoffs last year. They played at Green Bay this year. Rams and Carolina. We saw that game earlier in the year, and we're about to see Bears 49ers. So that'd be a very interesting, 3 rematches in the NFC of regular season games. None of them divisional games either. That would be really interesting. And obviously you'd have Seattle waiting for whoever comes there at that point. Okay. AFC. Let's start with the 1 seed, the Broncos, who are currently 13-3. They play the Chargers next week. I mean, basically the question is, are they going to beat the Chargers and be the 1 seed?
Lock it in, man. I'm rolling with it. I got them the 1 seed, 14-3.
I also have them sitting at 14-3. And so I also have them winning that game and becoming the 1 seed. At that point, it becomes very easy for them. It's just win and you're the 1 seed. You get that bye. They're at home. They've been one of the best home teams in the NFL this year.
There, bro.
They are finishing. This is a wild thing. If they can win that game, they won't play a game outside of the Denver, and they won't leave the state of Colorado.
Yeah, that's true.
Basically till the potential Super Bowl in February. They would go from the very beginning of December all the way through, because they played the Jaguars at home last week. They played the Chiefs at home last night, and now they would play.
They played at Arrowhead, I think.
Did they? Oh, you're right. They did play at Arrowhead. It wasn't in Denver. But they are hosting the Chargers, and then they would get the bye, and then they would host all the way through the AFC playoffs. Yeah. For some reason, I thought they had that Chiefs game in Denver, and I was like, man, that would be 3 straight home games to end the season. And but of course, it didn't work out that way for them. But regardless, we both having them finishing 14-3 and sticking in the 1 seed. Okay, 2 seed, the Patriots, 12-3. They get the Dolphins and at the Jets. How do you see that one?
I mean, those teams are both collectively 9-21. I mean,
Jody basically looked at me and said, "What's your question?" It's already answered, so we can lock it in. Patriots,
both of them 14-3.
Patriots 14-3, sitting in the
Behind
2
Denver.
seed. So we're locking it in that the Broncos and Patriots both finish 14-3, 1-2, and the Broncos secure the 1 seed, the Patriots secure the 2 seed, and the NFC East.
Yep.
All right, the 3 seed, the Jags, they are currently 11-4. How do you see that?
Oh, I have them finishing 12-4. Let me see where I got them. I got them beating the Titans. Who do they play this coming up week?
They have the Colts. They're at Indianapolis this week, and then they're home for the Titans the next week. Hey, special guest appearance.
Thanks,
Love it.
She said, "Here's your Snoopy." I guess. Hey, Phillip Rivers getting it done. I guess. I don't know how I chose that
so
in
you
my
have
head, but
Philly beating them. So you
I
have
got them at a
finishing
3 seed,
12-4.
12-4.
12-5.
Did I not pick the game?
You must not have. 12-4 ain't a real record. That would be 16 games instead of 17.
I might not have even clicked it. You know why? Okay, the one I'm on, it has the 3 games that happened on the top, and I just ignored that one for some reason.
Okay.
Well, then no, hey, they're going 13-4. There we go.
So you also have them winning out, sticking in the 3 seed, 13-4. I have that as well. 13-4, winning at the Colts and versus the Titans. Okay. Now we get interesting. The Steelers at the 4 seed. Currently 9-6. They have at the Browns and versus the Ravens left.
I have them getting it done. Rodgers. He's winning out 11-6.
Okay. I also have them winning out and getting to 11-6 as well. I think the Steelers have just found ways to win games.
Yeah.
I do think not having DK Metcalf these last couple games will hurt them, but I think they'll win this week. Yeah, 2-game suspension.
Dang, that's tough.
So I think they'll win this week and lock up the division, and then it'll be kind of a meaningless game with the Ravens in that last game of the season, and they'll find a way to win another one, probably resting Rodgers and doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
But I have them finishing in that same 4 seed. So we have 1 through 4. It's interesting that in the AFC, no one's locked the division up. Nope, there's not one division that's already won.
Yeah, true.
And so,
We
but
just
we
know
are,
like who's in there for the most part.
But we are both saying, hey, we've got them all sticking and winning out and winning their division. All 4 teams that are the division leaders, 1 through 4 right now, win out, win the division.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
So then we've got the next team is the 5 seed, the Chargers, sitting at 11-4 right now. They've got the Texans at home and at the Broncos. How do you see them finishing?
11-4 currently. Oof. I got them 11-6 in the 7 seed for my bracket over here.
I also have them finishing 11-6. I think they're playing as well as any team in football right now, but it's similar. It's kind of I have the same feeling.
Man.
I have the same feeling about the Chargers that I have about the Niners, and for different reasons. With the 49ers, it feels like, man, that defense is doing some things, and their offense is just playing otherworldly to kind of pick them up. And Shanahan's unbelievable. Purdy's been great. Robert Sala's been great. But it feels like, these last 2 games are so tough. I don't think they come through it unscathed, right? And so they stumble. The Chargers, man, Herbert is unbelievable. Harbaugh's unbelievable. That Chargers defense has been unreal. But that O-line is paper mache and glue, right? They're just finding ways to get by. And I think the level of competition you're going to see with the Texans and at the Broncos with the 1 seed on the line, I just don't think they'll find a way to win either one of those games because they're just going to be so tough.
Are going to
the Texans defense, those pass rushers are going to get after Herbert. Then you have to go to Denver, and they're trying to lock up that 1 seed. Again, their pass rushers. I just think as good as the Chargers defense has been, as good as Herbert's been, I just don't think they have enough juice. And I think they also lose both those games. I have them finishing 11-6 and in the 7 seed. All right. The who do we have next? The 6th seeded Bills. They are currently also 11-4. They have games versus Philly and the Jets. They're both at home. How do you see it?
I got them winning out 2-0 right there. I think it'll be nice to see that Philly game because that'll be potential for a Super Bowl matchup. And then I don't know. I think Philly's they've been going like this. They're roller coaster up and down.
Yep, they are a roller coaster for sure.
And I think they would need a lot more out of their offense than we've seen. And so Buffalo's gonna get that one done, and then Jets, like I said, 3-12, bro. They want that number one pick as best or as close as they could get. They don't want that one. Let them have it.
Yep, I agree. I think the Bills get it done those last 2 weeks of the season. They go 13-4, winning out versus the Eagles and the Jets.
Oh, they would be my 5 seed.
They would also be my 5 seed. Lastly, the current 7 seed, the Texans, they play the Chargers and the Colts at the Chargers versus the Colts. They're currently 10-5. How do you see them finishing with those 2 games, Jody?
I also got them winning out. They end up 12-5 as my 6th seed. I think we've had this one all the same, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also have them winning out, finishing 12-5 as the 6th seed. So if things go the way we think in the AFC, which basically means everyone kind of wins out and stands pat, except the Chargers lose out and drop to 7, and the Bills and Texans both just move up 1, but everybody else basically stays the same. So we would have Broncos waiting in Denver for whoever comes through, Patriots hosting the Chargers, Jaguars hosting the Texans.
Yep.
Steelers hosting the Bills. So we'd have a divisional matchup. We'd have Steelers-Bills, which has been like a playoff matchup we've seen in recent memory. And then Chargers-Patriots is kind of an interesting sort of new, like Harbaugh, Vrabel, Drake May, Justin Herbert. There'd be some star power in that game. That would be an interesting one. So those would be the matchups if things go the way we think, and we both, again, agree there. Just for fun.
Yeah.
Who do you see standing based on your
my play out,
my matchups in both sides? So if you start with the NFC, who do you see moving on to the divisional round?
Okay. I think so. I would say who's the lowest seed? I guess we're seeing Seattle play San Fran. So I got San Fran beating the Bears. We'll go Eagles. I don't know if I like that. Eagles beating Green Bay, and then the Rams beating Carolina.
So you'd have the Rams going to Philly.
Yeah.
And San Francisco going to Seattle.
Yeah.
And then in the AFC, how would you see it?
Ooh, that Harbaugh versus Vrabel. I kind of want to give it to I kind of want to give it to the home team. It's going to be outdoors, probably very cold. O-line will be extra fragile. So let's say New England wins there. Oof. Good. I might give that one to Houston over Jacksonville. And we're going Buffalo. Sorry, Rodgers.
Okay, so you've got Buffalo hosting, or Houston going to
Denver,
New England, or to Denver, and Buffalo going to New England.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And then what would be your NFC and AFC championships?
Oh, give me. It would be Denver, Buffalo, and give me. Dang. For the home game, give me Rams, Niners.
Wow. That would be. I'm telling you, you're right. That would be something if it goes that way. And then your Super Bowl.
If you want the honest answer, I'm probably taking Buffalo Rams. If you want the kid in me, we're going Denver Rams.
Okay. All right. Okay. On my side of things, I've got the Rams beating the Packers. Eagles 49ers is a battle.
Yeah, I can see that.
Eagles 49ers is a freaking battle. I think I take Philly. Real close.
Yeah.
Seattle beats Carolina, avenges the loss that I'm saying they're going to have this Sunday. Seattle goes to Chicago. Philly goes to the Rams. And I've got the Rams winning and the Seahawks winning on the road. So then I've got Rams-Seahawks Part 3 in the NFC Championship.
That would be a crazy game.
In the AFC, that Patriots-Chargers game, I think, is the toughest game of all of them to pick because I think Jesse Minter's defense can do some stuff to Drake May. It's Drake May's first playoff game, but it's not like Herbert has a ton of great playoff experience.
They've lost both their playoff games. The last time, but one of the times we've seen him, he got blown out in reverse fashion by the Jaguars.
And then he got blown out in real fashion versus the Texans. So I'm gonna say the Chargers get it done on the road in New England. That's kind of it's a tough one, but I think that's what happens there. Jags Texans. I like the Texans defense. I think it'll travel into Jacksonville. And Bills Steelers. I think I like the Bills. So I guess I would pick all the wild card teams, all upsets. So when I have Chargers going to the Broncos, Texans going to the Bills. I've got the Bills and the Broncos both getting that done, and I have the same AFC Championship you do with Bills and Broncos. So I have Rams, Seahawks, Bills, Broncos on both sides. I think those are the 4 best teams.
Yeah.
And I would end up. I think I'd go with the 2 home teams in that case, the Rams and the Broncos in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
It feels like it should be Josh Allen's year in the AFC, but that Broncos defense is good, and Bo Nix always does like just enough. So, and just it's hard to pick against them at Mile High. You know, the fact that they're going to have that 1 seed and be able to host all the way through, I think it's hard to pick against them. So, I'm going Rams Broncos in the Super Bowl. And you had Rams Bills, so not too far off. I think we're on similar wavelengths there. Okay, next football topic anyway for today. MVP. A lot of debate over it right now. Basically, the 3 names are Matthew Stafford, Drake May, and Josh Allen.
Yep.
Those are the 3 names people have mentioned in recent weeks. Jody, if you have to make a case for one of them, who are you making the case for?
We're going Matt Stafford, bro. Come on. My guy, I don't know how old he is. I'm not going to make up a number, but my man's one of the older guys in the league.
Yeah.
My man has like only 5 picks on the season or something. Has another like 40 touchdowns or something. I think that's just, and the team sits at 11 wins right now currently. Like, come on, bro. Drake May don't got those same numbers. His team's winning, but they don't got the same numbers that he does. And then Josh Allen, my guy, if we're talking just strictly record again, he's fighting for a wild card spot, possible division, but if he ends up in the wild card, doesn't look as good. You know what I mean? Although I guess my bad, Matt Stafford would be in the same case, possibly. But like I said, the turnovers to touchdowns alone and yards is, I think, miles above most people in this conversation.
I think where I land on this discussion, I think you can kind of throw the records out the window because they're all going to end up with 13 or 14 wins is kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, that's true.
Worst case, maybe 12 wins for any of them, but I think they're all going to be somewhere between 12 and 14 wins. Now, the thing that I would say is the thing that gives Matthew Stafford sort of a leg up is the level of competition. I mean, if you look at the Rams' 4 losses, their 4 losses are Philly, San Francisco, Seattle, and Carolina. Those are probably 4 NFC playoff teams. And just by the same token, they have wins over Seattle, San Francisco, the Jaguars in blowout fashion. The Texans, right? So they've also beaten
Lions, right?
a ton of playoff teams. Yeah, they beat the Lions, who were kind of a fringe playoff team at one point. They beat the Bucks, who could also be a playoff team. So they've had a really tough schedule, and Stafford has performed extremely well against it all year. But he's also just like, if you just beyond the numbers, right? Because the numbers are what they are, and he's been unbelievable. He threw all those passes and touchdowns before throwing a pick finally a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But beyond all of that, he's just elevated the team. I mean, he makes plays, he makes clutch throws every week that you're like, man, he just keeps doing it. And even in the games that they've lost, all right, let's go through their losses. Against Philly, he put them in position to win the game, right? He got them in a field goal range, and they got the field goal blocked. Against the Niners, he put them in position to win the game. Kyron Williams fumbled near the goal line, and then still again, they didn't get the 4th down conversion. So he put them in position to win the game there. Against Carolina.
Oh, that's what happened with Blake, right? He fumbled too in one of these games.
Kyron fumbled in the San Francisco game. I think Blake also maybe fumbled a pitch or something like that, if memory serves. But and in the Carolina game, he once again with the Puka throw and catch, like I put them up, and then their defense gives up a 4th down. He drove them all the way in field goal range, right? And then there was the sack fumble. That's the one play of the year that you can say like, man, he took them, that play cost them an opportunity to win. But that was after he'd already driven them in position to win the game again. And then against Seattle, he puts them in range, in field goal range, and they miss it. And then in the overtime, he throws a touchdown pass to win it, and the defense lets him down again. So special teams or the defense have let him down in all 4 of these games. It's not been him. You can't say he's not clutch, right? You can't say he's not putting his team consistently in position to win games. And of course, in all the other games, they've won them, and mostly due, or at least in part due to what he's doing. Now, if I had to make a case for either of the other guys, it's that they don't have Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams, catching passes from him. But I will say Stephon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte and all the dudes in New England have played extremely well this year. And Drake, in part, that's because Drake May's elevated them. And, in Josh Allen's case, I think it's even a weaker argument for what he has, even in comparison to what New England has, what Drake May has, right?
Yeah.
But Josh Allen's also had some stinkers this year. Just kind of in the middle of the season, there was kind of a lull there where he wasn't playing as well. And then if you watch the game against Cleveland last week, not nearly as good. So I just think Matthew Stafford is your MVP. I think, I won't go out and say it's not close, like someone, but I do think it's a clear to me 1, 2, and 3, which is Stafford, then Drake May, then Josh Allen.
And that's what the odds say too. They got Matt Stafford taking it, close second, Drake May, and then a little farther down, you got Josh Allen lingering.
Yeah. Offensive player of the year. I'll kind of start us off on this one because I know you had the tough task of starting us off on the MVP. I mean, I don't know what the odds say. I haven't looked the odds in any of these.
Yeah.
But to me, this is like a clear runaway favorite, and maybe the odds say that, maybe they don't. But Jackson Smith and Jigba feels like
fan fave.
It's the offensive player of the year is always a tough one because you always are like, will they just give it to like the other quarterback that didn't win MVP? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but to me, with MVP pretty much becoming a quarterback award, I almost think they should just say MVP is a quarterback award, and then offensive player of the year is you're just not a quarterback. It's just anybody else, any of the other skill guys, right?
The next skill guy that does.
And so in my mind, that's how I look at it and think about it. So to me, that guy's got to be Jackson Smith and Jigba. If he's not cooking, the Seattle offense isn't cooking. I mean, if you watch that Thursday night game between Seattle and LA a few weeks ago, the offense, the Seattle offense
in the first half, right? And then second half.
And guess what their offense did? Nothing. And then in the second half, and especially in overtime, when they got him the ball, all of a sudden they were scoring, right? Yeah. So he makes their offense go. If they can't get him the ball, they're on the struggle bus. So to me, it's clear and away Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't even know who else you would put. I don't know what the odds say or who else you would kind of put in the conversation, but I would go JSN by a lot.
Yeah, the next guy is Puka. Try to give you a visual.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
And then it has Christian McCaffrey, James Cook, and James Cook's down there.
James Cook could be a good one. He's had an unbelievable year as well. I could see it'd just be hard to me to say you're going to give this MVP to Stafford and the Offensive Player of the Year to Puka. That would be really difficult to justify.
No, that's fair.
Especially on a team that's now lost 4 games, and they've all been crazy, fluky, sort of heartbreaker games, but still, it'd be tough to say. I think JSN is your guy there, especially with Seattle sitting in the 1 seed right now.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year. This is where it gets tough.
Oh, here, let me give you the odds real quick for those last ones. I kind of told you the order. It was JSN as a minus, let's say 200 average. Puka very close behind, plus 170-ish, and then Christian McCaffrey plus 900. But this one, DPOY, it says lock it in. It's nobody else. It's one man's for the taking.
Is it Myles Garrett?
Yeah. If he gets a sack record, it's kind of over.
He's going to set the sack record. The only reason why you might argue against the team is so bad. It's so. I mean, now I will say this though, he's done his part and everything he can do to kind of keep Cleveland in some of these games. They just never win them. This is the bummer. They just never win them. I get it. He's going to set the sack record. Is that who your pick would be?
I think it kind of have to be. What it's showing for the odds, it's got him, Micah Parsons, Nick Bonito, and Will Anderson. And Nick Bonito and Will Anderson are far beyond the other two. But like I said, if he breaks that record, that's unheard. Michael Strahan's had it since 2001 or something. We haven't seen anybody be that good on that side of the ball for that position in forever.
I would say I hope he breaks it this weekend.
Yeah, because then there's no argument he needed the extra game.
Yeah. And if he does, there's just not a clear standout. Because the best defense in the league this year are all defenses that play well together. Benito stands out to me on Denver's defense, but not enough to make an argument over Myles Garrett. There's a bunch of guys on the Jags defense who have played very well.
So where Hunter is, Danielle Hunter, is he also Texans?
Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson on the Texans have been unbelievable. Micah Parsons, had he been healthy, you might have been able to have an argument for him with Green Bay. I mean, Seattle has got a number of dudes who just play really hard and again well together. It's a tough year to kind of think about who you would pick in these if it wasn't Myles Garrett. But I think for all those reasons, it probably has to be Myles Garrett just because of what you're saying. But man, I was wondering if there was somebody else that you could kind of go with there, but there really isn't. It's really Myles Garrett kind of in a league of his own here.
Mm-hmm.
So Stafford, JSN, and Myles Garrett are our picks there.
It's going to be.
All right. Do you have a banger of the week before we get out of here, dude?
I was just going to keep it simple. We're in Christmas time. We're watching all of Grinch. You could throw out.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas Vacation. Never seen it, but I've heard it's good. But I'm going traditional. Home Alone. That's what we've been watching. We watched all 3 of them over the past week. So, yeah, I'm rolling with the
there's 6 of them now. So you watch
I didn't even know that.
You watched the 2 with Kevin McAllister, and then they did a third one with a different kid, right?
Yeah, yep.
That's the third one's when they started doing different kids.
Yeah, it's that fool looks even younger than Macaulay Culkin, and then it's I didn't even know there was more than that third one.
Yeah, they made because truthfully, none of them.
Don't leave them home alone. Don't forget them. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna start a fire in the backyard.
Watched, been keeping you updated on the Stranger Things. Watched the 3. They dropped the 3 new episodes. Yep. Excited for the finale. Jill and I contemplated going to see it.
Is that New Year's?
Yeah. But I think we decided we're going to stay home and watch it. And
yeah, that's smart.
Be pretty,
save some money.
Pretty excited
you can pop
about
your own popcorn. Save some money.
Yeah. So pretty excited about the finale. I think it's so far. As long as the finale lands the plane, it's lived up to the hype. So
there you go.
They've definitely set up the finale to do a lot of things, though. So they've got The good news is, that finale is like 2 hours, so I think they've got the time to do what they need to get done. So yeah. So I think they'll land the plane, but very excited to watch football this weekend, and I think the likelihood is we may get one more pod in before we see the college football playoff games on New Year's Day. But just in case we don't, just giving my friends out there small leans here. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Let's hear them out.
I like and this is just free advice here if you're gambling on these games. I like Oregon in a tight one versus Texas Tech. I think last I saw, Oregon was like a 1.5 point favorite. I think if that's the case, you just either go, it's tough when it's 1.5. I do like it to be close, but I'm not necessarily liking it enough to say, hey, Texas Tech with the points there. So I like the Oregon money line in that game.
Okay.
Do think it's going to be a good game. Think it's going to be the best game of the weekend. So I like that. Ohio State, Miami, huge line there. I think Miami's defense is going to be able to keep that thing closer. So I like taking Miami with the points. Last I saw, it was like 10. And so I would take Miami on that.
I'm seeing 9 right now. Oregon's at 2. Let's see, the Bama game's at 7, with Indiana being the favorite. Then Georgia's favorited -6.5.
So here's my leans, right? So I've Oregon money line, Miami against the spread, right? The 9 points there. I would take Indiana to cover the 7 points. I think Indiana is going to be able to handle Alabama. And then lastly, that Georgia Ole Miss game is interesting. I think I'd also take Georgia with the points though, because I'm not sure Ole Miss without the Kiffin. I think this might be the game where that shows up a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. The Georgia defense is going to get after Trinidad Chambliss, I think, as well. So I'm going to go. You take Georgia with the covering. You take Indiana covering. You take Miami with the points, and you take Oregon money line because I think that thing's going to be close. So that's what I like. I think we see 2 relatively close games with Oregon and Texas Tech and Miami and Ohio State, and I think we see 2 relatively sort of, maybe it's 10 points, 14 points, whatever, with Indiana and Georgia being able to handle Alabama and Ole Miss.
Yeah, and if you parlay all that, plus 1159.
There you go. You got yourself a parlay. Oregon money line, Miami 9 points, minus 9 point or plus 9 points.
Yeah.
Indiana -7 and
Georgia -6.5.
-6.5. Yeah, I like all of that. Parlay those together and have some fun watching college football. If we get an opportunity to dive in before those games, we'll give you some more rationale as to why. But that's where we like to lean right now.
Sure.
All right. Well, we're gonna let our guy Ray take it out.